Hello everyone, welcome back. This is video number 3 discussing the Law of One teachings, otherwise known as the raw material. And last time we discussed the nature and the formation of the creation from infinity, how infinity became self-aware, how infinity had a thought, a desire really, to experience non-infinity. And from those initial first steps, came eventually to be the physical manifest universe that we know of today. Now, I thought for the next video, what I thought would be video number 3, we were going to talk about the 7 densities, but there's actually something in between the beginning parts of the formation of creation and what we would call the 7 densities of consciousness that I felt need to be explained first. So before we even continue with this, if you haven't watched video 1 and 2, I would go do that first, and these are definitely meant to be watched in sequential order. And again, I'm just presenting this material in the way that I feel makes the most sense. As you look at the quotes that I'm providing in these videos from Ra, you'll see that I'm jumping around from session to session because oftentimes questions were asked. Well, Don would feel like asking particular things at certain times, and then later on he would come back to some initial concepts to try to get Ra to further explain or to get a better comprehension or understanding of certain things. So I've really tried to go through and collate and organize the material and present it in a way that is, in a sense, chronological up to a point in terms of what is the nature of infinity, what is the nature of creation, how did we get from infinity to here. So these first few videos are just my attempt to break it down step by step until we get to the point where there is consciousness existing on the planetary surface of any given planet. So this video we're discussing the first 3 distortions of the Law of One. From infinity come basically the essential building blocks of creation. And so these first 3 distortions are 1, free will. First distortion is free will. Second distortion is love, often called the logos, which we talked about a little bit in the last video. Love is the creative principle. It's the energizer. It's the thing from which creation is made. And the third distortion is light. So 1, free will, 2, love, 3, light. These are the 3 what Ra called primal distortions of the Law of One. So as the infinite creator desired to know itself, it utilized free will, first of all, because it had free will to think for itself and to do whatever it wanted. As this energy coming out of infinity goes outward and outward, as we talked about in the last video, it finds its focus. These focuses, portions of focused energy are called love, or the logos. Now, the logos then uses light in order to create physical manifest reality. So we're going to get into some quotes about this today. And yeah, here we go. We'll just get right into it. So this is Don questioning Ra about the first 3 distortions, trying to get a better understanding of them. Don, now I understand that the first distortion of intelligent infinity is the distortion of what we call free will. Can you give me a definition of this distortion? Ra says, I am Ra. In this distortion of the Law of One, it is recognized that the Creator will know itself. Don, am I correct then in assuming that the Creator then grants for this process of knowing the concept of total freedom of choice in its ways of knowing? Am I correct? Ra says, this is quite correct. So the Creator has free will to know itself, and now this freedom of will allows infinite possibilities, right? So next Don says, I would like for you to define the second distortion, love. Ra says, I am Ra. This must be defined against the backdrop of intelligent infinity or unity, or the one creator, with the primal distortion of free will. The term love, then, may be seen as the focus, the choice of attack the type of energy of an extremely, shall we say, high order, which causes intelligent energy to be formed from the potential of intelligent infinity in just such and such a way. This then may be seen to be an object rather than an activity by some of your peoples. So as you can see here, this second distortion, love, we need to remove our normal way of thinking about the word love. It's often, it's misapplied in all kinds of ways. You know, I love pizza, I love rap music, I love cars, I love whatever. This is not that same kind of love. We're talking about, in this sense, love is the creative force. It's a type of energy, as Ra says, of an extremely high order. And so this energy is intelligent. It then has free will to create whatever it wants as an extension of the one infinite creator's free will. Okay, so, here Ra says, this is in the next question and answer, the second distortion, love, is the great activator and primal co-creator of various creations using intelligent infinity. Love comes into light in the sense of the activity of unity in its free will. Love uses light and has the power to direct light in its distortions. Okay, so infinity had free will. It started expanding outwards in order to know what it would be like to be non-infinite, something other than itself. Okay, that energy expands out. You get patterns of energy forming. Certain parts of that ever-expanding outward energy find their focus. These become the logos, or love. These then, through free will, use light to create whatever they want to create. Okay, so we have love using light now. Light will be the third distortion. And we'll find out right now that light is the building block from which all material is made. Everything is made of light. And we'll go a little bit further into this in terms of talking about vibration and the photon particle of light, but we're not going to get too far into it. We just want to get a decent sort of overall understanding of what is being used, what energies are being used to create the manifest universe. So now we're getting into the nature of light itself. And Dawn says, I will make a statement that I have extracted from the physics of Dewey Larson, which may or may not be close to what we are trying to explain. Larson says that all is motion, which we can take as vibration. And that vibration, which is pure vibration and is not physical in any way or in any form or in any density, the first product of that vibration is what we call the photon, the particle of light. I'm trying to make an analogy between this physical solution and the concept of love and light. Is this close to the concept of love creating light or not? Ra says, this is correct. You are correct. Dawn then asks, then I will expand a little bit more on this concept. We have the infinite vibration of love, which can occur, I am assuming, at varying frequencies, and I would assume that it begins at one basic frequency. Does this have any meaning? Is this correct? Ra says, each love, as you term the prime movers, the primal co-creators, comes from one frequency, if you wish to use this term. This frequency is unity, the infinite creator, infinite intelligence. We would perhaps liken it rather to a strength than a frequency, this strength being infinite, the finite qualities being chosen by the particular nature of this primal movement. Dawn then goes on, then this vibration is pure motion, it is pure love, it is nothing that is yet condensed to form any type of matter or illusion. This love then creates by this process of vibration a photon, as we call it, which is the basic particle of light. This photon, then, by added vibrations and rotations, further condenses into particles which form the densities, the various densities that we experience. Is this correct? Ra says this is correct. And so we have, coming from intelligent infinity, the infinite creator, an infinite supply of energy, right? This is infinite energy, what we're calling love. Love will then vibrate out. It's an infinite vibration. As this love vibrates, within this vibration, photons of light start to manifest, and then they combine further and further and further, and they then begin to form the different qualities of vibration, which will then go on to become the densities of experience, the levels of consciousness that individualized portions of consciousness existing on the surface of a planet need to move through in order to reapprehend the original thought or their true nature. So let's continue here. Don says, now this light, which forms the densities, the different levels of experience, has what we call color, and this color is divided into 7 categories of color. Can you tell me, is there a reason or an explanation for these categories of color? Can you tell me something about that? Ra says, the nature of the vibratory patterns of your universe is dependent upon the configurations placed upon the original material, light, by the focus, love, using its intelligent energy to create a certain pattern of illusions or densities in order to satisfy its own intelligent estimate of a method of knowing itself. Wow. Thus the colors are as straight or narrow or necessary as possible to express the different qualities of vibration, given the will of love. The next quote says, you may understand each color or ray as being a very specific and accurate apportion of intelligent energy's representation of intelligent infinity. So we can try to picture here the logos, love, this intelligent creative force. It's created the colors as its best way of expressing what it believes the one infinite creator to be. That's really all we can say about it. There are 7 densities, these created by these, and these 7 densities each have a color associated with them, and the logos created them in its best attempt to express what it felt the infinite creator is. Good? Okay. So Dawn attempts to summarize the movement of love going on to create light here. There's a few more quotes here. So Dawn says, this light that occurs is a consequence of vibration, vibration being a consequence of love, love being a consequence of infinite free will. Is that correct? Ra says, this statement is correct. Let's do that again. This light that occurs is a consequence of vibration, vibration being a consequence of love. And I've put in parentheses here, love being a consequence of infinite free will. Is that correct? This is correct. Okay, next, Dawn says, okay, this light then can condense into material, into all of our chemical elements due to light particles vibrating at particular speeds of rotation. Is this correct? Ra says, this is quite correct. So everything that we can see, everything that's manifest is according to the law of one and the physics of Dewey Larson, which are very fascinating to read. I'm going to leave a link in the description of the video that is a really good summary of Dewey Larson's sort of system of physics and what he believed to be his overall understanding of the nature of the universe and reality. And Ra is saying here that Dewey Larson basically got as close as anyone has gotten to understanding the fundamental nature of reality and matter itself. So I'll stick a link down there. And you know, I saw this Einstein quote, and I think it's worth sharing because he got it too. He understood. He says, concerning matter, we've all been wrong. We've been all wrong. What we have called matter is energy, whose vibration has been so lowered as to be perceptible to the senses. Matter is spirit reduced to a point of visibility. There is no matter. Wow, so that's a really great quote, especially that last part. Matter is spirit reduced to a point of visibility. And Ra would likely say that matter is the vibration of love, reduced to a vibrational level so that it's visible to us in a 3D physical form. So I think that's a good short little video just going over the first 3 distortions of the law of one: free will, love, and light. We talked in the last one about the fact that, you know, love utilizes its free will to create dimensions and then universes and galaxies and solar systems and planets. But we didn't talk about how that happens. So I just wanted to discuss as best as we possibly can with really dense metaphysical concepts, how that goes about happening before we got into the discussion of the 7 densities, which is what we will do in the next video. Okay, thanks for watching. See you next time.